We are live. Hey everybody, here's my hand. How's it going? How's everything looking? Yeah, light looks pretty good. Let me turn on some more light in here. I'll be able to light up the scene well enough so you can kind of see everything. Okay, so we are adding detail to the track tonight. I've got joint bars by Details West. I've got joint bars by Kaiser Valley Models. I've got little switch details by, I think this is proto87.com. I don't know that they sell those anymore. I bought those about a decade ago. And then I've got more switch details that come with the micro engineering switches themselves. I'll be adding those as well. So that is the plan for the evening. Joint bars are kind of fun. Well, and they're kind of not. It's one of those things where it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to put in, but once you kind of get them in, they look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. Now I use code 83 rail for my main lines and code 70 for my sidings. The mainline rail, the code 83 mainline rail Details West joint bars actually look really darn good for those. They're maybe slightly oversized. They're white metal castings. So they show up really nicely, especially when you kind of paint and weather. That shows up really nicely. However, when you get down, although the packaging says on it code 70, it doesn't really work in code 70 rail. It sticks up a little too high and interferes with the wheels of your locomotives in your cars. So what I'm doing is for the outside of the rail on the code 83 rail, I'm using Details West joint bars. And on the inside of the rail, I'm using Kaiser Valley photo etch joint bars, which are thinner and smaller and more in scale. And then on my code 70 rail, I'm also using the Kaiser Valley joint bars. And they fit nicely there. They're a little harder to see because they are more in scale. They tend to blend in, but they're there. And you can take a little bit of dry brushing and kind of like highlight it to make it pop on the rail. So you can kind of make them show up a little bit better. My joint bars get applied every 39 scale feet. So I've got this little guide right here that I've drawn. I don't know if you can see. I've drawn 39 scale feet on that guide, and I can kind of use that to sort of line up where I'm going to put my joint bars. And they're all glued in place. With some liquid super glue. So that is the plan. How does everything sound tonight? Everything sound okay? Let me go to my feed and listen to it in my headphones and see how that sounds. Sounds great. I don't know why I ever question if it sounds good or not. Okay, so I stopped right here last time. Everything kind of on this side has already been sort of ballasted and painted and everything, so that's all done. I stopped right here because this is where I'm putting my crossover. I needed to get that all taken care of first before I can start detailing. I need to get detailing done before I can start painting the track. I need to get painting the track done before I can start ballasting. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that has to kind of happen in order. So we're just going to mark every 39 feet. Trim some of these off here. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see tonight, guys. I apologize. I'm looking for ways to like increase my resolution of my camera feed and all that. I don't know. I'm figuring it out as I go. So we'll just cut these joint bars out from the sprue. They're white metal, so you gotta be a little careful with them because they will bend on you in a way that's undesirable. And then it's a little hard to kind of get them back from that. On my last layout, I did Details West bars on the outside and the inside of all my rail. And what I found was, they stood out from the rail a little bit, and the flanges of the cars would kind of catch on them, and it would cause the cars to kind of shake a little bit, which was not super great. So I decided on this layout I wasn't going to put joint bars on the inside at all. I was just going to put them on the outside of the rail. I was going to save me a little bit of cash that way, because these can be a little expensive, honestly. And it wasn't going to be accurate, but it was going to give me the detail I wanted, at least on the outside. And then you wouldn't get it get interfering with the inside of the rail. But when Kaiser Valley released their sorry, I'm looking for my paper towels, and I don't think I have them. I think I'm out of paper towels. When Kaiser Valley, oh, there they are. They're being hidden. Sorry. When Kaiser Valley came out with their photo etch joint bars that were much thinner, and I did test with them, I found like, oh, these actually, how am I going to do this actually? I have to stick it on here. Yeah, they were small enough, they were thin enough that I could actually stick those on the inside of the rail, and that would give me the best of both worlds. I think I'm going to do this by hand. Applying these can be a little bit of a pain. But they stay on pretty good. So I'm just kind of scraping a little bit of the super glue on there. Now I'm going to stick the joint bar on there and just kind of press it in place. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to do the outside. Here first, and then we'll come back and do the inside. I'm just applying a little bit of the liquid super glue. Oops. Okay, so I've got one joint bar that kind of goes in where I've got a feeder wire coming through. So I'm going to ignore that joint bar. I'm going to come down a little further. So the feeder wire comes right up right where that joint bar would go in. So instead, I'm putting that joint bar. Well, I'm skipping that part. And once I a while back I had calculated how many joint bars I would need for this layout. It was in the hundreds. And I was like, oh, I'm going to ignore that number. I don't want to know that number. But the more of these I apply, the easier, quicker it does get. It's just tedious. That's like that one extra little thing that I think a small layout can take advantage of. If you have a very large layout, I don't think you're doing this step. And part of the reason why you're not doing the step is because this step kind of has to occur kind of early on in the process. So whereas a lot of other details, you can generally build details into a scene as you go, as you get time. So if you have a large layout and that layout has been operational for 20 years, 15 years, whatever it might be, and you're in the detail phase, you can pile detail on top of detail. But joint bars are the kind of thing that you kind of got to get in place before you have painted the track and you've ballasted the track. And if you got a large layout, it can be kind of hard to find to dedicate the time to something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Willow Creek. Good to see you tonight. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I mean if you're working on a larger layout, you're really focused on getting it operational, right? This kind of thing is a little 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. But I think a lot of people these days are starting to go to smaller layouts anyway. I think the value of a smaller layout is kind of becoming a little better understood. I think that, and I think some of the tools that are available now. You got things like the proto throttle. You've got working derailleurs, and people are starting to incorporate switch locks and all that kind of stuff into the modeling operation. So I think it's slowing things down, and really making a small layout feel that much more fulfilling because of it. Here's one. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I'm only adding joint bars to my to the Medellin Falls track. So the Union Pacific main line that makes its way through Sandpoint. I'm not adding joint bars to that. I'm simulating welded rail. So saves me time not having to do joint bars on that, but it also is a very subtle way of kind of telling the story of my model railroad, being that the short line is, older rail, maintained rail, but you still sort of welding, you're still piecing things together with joint bars and that kind of thing. And that's a kind of a something that you see on short lines is older rail. They're not going to have the time or money or care really to totally replace everything. You're operating at slower speeds, shorter distances, so that makes sense. I've seen people ask questions before too, about should you notch the rail at the joint, right? Because that's how it is in real life. They're notched. I say no. I think it's taking it a little too far. You're going to add a notch. You're going to add up the possibility for a car to kind of bang and sway over that in a not realistic, not flattering way. So I've heard people trying to actually take actual 39-foot scale lengths of track and piecing them together that way when they're hand laying their track. I mean, I think that's fun. I think it's a fun idea. I just personally, I think flex track looks really good, and adding these kind of details makes it look really, really good, right? Makes it look really great. Okay, we've come to a switch. Yay! I'm going to add little frog details now. I'm not sure exactly how this should look. I've done a little bit of research online. There's a lot of different frogs and a lot of different ways of detailing frogs. So I'm going to just kind of, not winging it. I am making an educated I've destroyed that. I've destroyed those Xeron pliers or cutters, or whatever you want to call them. Come on. You're going to... Come on. There we go. Okay. So these little bits of detail parts came from, I think, proto87.com. I don't know if he sells the parts anymore, but it's been a while since I visited. I think I got these parts like 10 years ago from my old layout. I never installed them. They're actually like a kit of like... Okay. I think I put too much super glue on there, but that's fine. It is barely noticeable on the side of that thing, but it's there. I know it's there, and you know it's there. I put too much super glue on there. Now it's not going to want to dry properly. Hold on, let me do this. Let's kick it. If you don't know, this is a super glue kicker. It's like a I don't know what it is, but it'll instantly set super glue. Yeah, that's nice and hard now. Who do we got here? Todd Armstrong. Hey, Willow Creek. Thank you, Todd, for the kind words. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My camera wasn't even pointing to for you guys to see anything. I apologize for that. Hopefully you weren't. Basically, I was just applying one of these very small, very thin. This is a group of like 10 of them. But they're little switch frog details. Gosh, sorry, you guys weren't seeing anything there. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this liquid cement here and apply it along the frog here. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to stick that little detail part right in there. This is tricky going on, but I think it's probably worth it in the end. Oh, I actually need to move this down a little bit because it's hanging over the frog and onto the other rail, so we can't have that. We cannot have that. I can't even tell if I'm. All right, hold on. I need to get my readers. I just want to make sure that metal's not hanging over the frog. Yeah, I think it is. Da-da-da. Hello, getting back on track with Steve. How are you doing tonight? Hey babe, I'm live on YouTube. We can watch something together. Do you want to? Yeah, we can do that. Let me just sign off and.
No, you can finish what you're doing.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right. So yeah, okay. Now I think I've got this thing. Sorry about this, guys. This is really boring right now, but let me just cut this all the way right here. I want to keep it the metal details just on the frog. I don't want them potentially shorting. Not shorting, but yeah, shorting, I guess. The other track, so. Cool. All right. Let's do a couple more joint bars. We'll call it an evening, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. These joint bars can be a little tricky sometimes. They'll kind of get stuck up on top and they stick out a little too much. But yeah, you paint them, they blend in a lot more than they do at this point in the stage where you just got bare metal and the light is picking up every little. Okay. There we go. Cool. How's this looking? You know, I wish you could see this, but I know it's I know it's not going to show up at all. Just because of how small these details are and how low the resolution of a live camera is. But let's see, I have installed in this amount of time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 joint bars and 2 little bits of switch detail in about 40 minutes. Sounds about right. Oh, I'm hoping this weekend I can get the vast majority of this yard detailed and ready for paint. Because I'd like to start. I like to start painting like a week from now, and I'd like to start ballasting like a week after that, if not sooner. I'd like it to be sooner. But anyways, that is probably gonna be good for tonight. Thank you for everyone for joining me. Not a super exciting session, but I'm making steps towards getting this railroad not done, but further along. Anyway, thanks again for everyone for joining me. Have a lovely evening.